We're live on the 5 a.m. Mester Scrum Show on a Monday. I should call it Pukey Monday. I was very late. I must have cleaned up stuff 3 times so far. I think Bubbles is trying to kill Jerry or set him up. I don't know. So apparently, my neighbor who had this lemon bar treat, I guess they bought too much and they're trying to. I'm like I really need it. I'm like overweight. I don't need it, but it's really good. So that's on the counter last night. I heard something crash last night. Didn't hear nothing. Kind of let it go. And apparently, Bubbles knocked over the lemon bar container onto the ground, and Jerry ate it. Somebody ate it. Somebody ate the whole damn thing. It was a big lemon bar. It's like this big. It was really good. Oh, somebody is puking up a storm this morning. I think the cat's trying to kill the dog. Good thing it wasn't chocolate. You'd be dead by now. Anyway, it's 5 a.m. Master Scrum Show. So today I want to talk about like data. Like we always talk about, oh, let's do metrics. Metric Monday, right? So, but you can't do metrics without the data. And what I always hear, always for all my whole career, well, I can't get this done. I can't get this development work because of all the stuff that comes in from the sides, right? The DevOps stuff, the customer support stuff, the questions, supporting other team members, just in general, just they always say that. And I always propose to them, well, let's collect some data on it. And I'm going to go through that today and how to use your system, whether it be Jira, Azure, Rally, any one of these systems to collect this data in a very simple and easy way so that you can do this. And I'm going to give you an example where we did this in a case for one of my teams. Like I coached for a business analyst and how she used that data to support her case. So with that, it's a 5 a.m. Mester Scrum Show. I am Greg Mester, Scrum Master and Agile Coach. And here we talk about Scrum and Agile in a very practical and tactical way so we can bring value to the customer, not work crazy hours to get that value and have a little fun along the way. It wasn't fun this morning cleaning up all the dog puke, but I don't want to give you all that information. Just lemon bar everywhere. It wasn't a pretty sight. But let's talk about metrics. So pretty much every company I've ever coached, every team, they always say, I get a lot of this customer support questions. I got to help my other teammates. When do I get to do my dev work and all that? And I always said, okay, fine. Well, where's your data to show that effort that you need to support that? Well, I don't have it. That's a big problem with teams and people is they say something, but they have no proof behind it. The beauty of metrics and collecting some data, and we've been doing this for hundreds of thousands of years, is it helps support their case on what they need to do or they need to adjust something or something needs to be adjusted. Without the data, I'm going to tell you these managers just blow by you in 2 seconds, right? So I'm going to share with you how to collect that data. It's very simple. So in Jira, if you're doing Scrum, you got a time box, right? So you can do an epic, you can do a story, you can do whatever you want. And people say, well, a story's got to have value. I don't care, right? To be honest with you, Jira is about tracking how much work you do and how much busy and how much stuff you have. So there's lots of things. So, and that's all work. It's all time. It's all complexity. So what I typically do is I recommend that you create a generic story for whatever thing you do. Like if I have to support organization X, organization Y, or I have to support customer service or my own teammates, even that. Like, what do I want to do? And here's the beauty of Scrum. Scrum gives you a little time box. It's not the whole world. You know how I said earlier, metrics mature and they go away. This process you only need to do for a sprint or two, where you collect one sprint of data, see if your observations are correct. If you feel like you need to collect another sprint of data, then go collect another sprint of data. It's up to you, right? So you put a story in there to capture support, whatever it is. And I'll give you an example. I had a BA where there's one group wanted someone from their organization to be there all the time to attend these meetings, to keep track of everything. And it really wasn't fruitful, let's say, our group didn't think it was fruitful for their time to be there. I mean, it's one thing to go there, but if you're funding your time and you have to fund all that, then you got to go, hey, if you want my people there to be 8 hours a day, I need you to fund my people, because I'm funding my people to do all this other stuff. I can't fund them to do your work too. So what they did is they said, okay, here's a scenario. We created a story in there in the sprint, gave it some points, some sizing, whatever. You don't even have to do sizing, but it's recommended. Say, we think we're going to spend 10% of our time supporting organization XYZ. Okay. So we'll put whatever our points for our capacity for sprint, we put a story in there for 10%. Then what would happen, and this is my little twist to it, every time they went to a meeting, every time they went to support them, whatever, they wrote a subtask underneath that story. And at the end, they reflected on, and they could put hours. I mean, if they want, they could put a subtask, spent 2 hours, boom, done, and ended it, whatever they do. And they collected this data. What they then did is took this data to their boss, and their boss looked how much, because they were saying how much time the person was trying to say, we're spending a lot of time on here, and the manager needed some data. So I helped them out, establish way to collect data simply, not like time card thing and not some crazy thing, because you have the flexibility in these systems to do pretty much what you want. When people say you don't, I'm like, bullshit. Sorry. You have your flexibility to do whatever you want. So they would track in their little subtask, put like spend an hour in this meeting, whatever. And at the end of the sprint, they sat down with their manager and showed how much time they were spending with this person. So what I'm suggesting is now they have the data to back up what they were saying, that we're spending 8 hours a week or whatever supporting this group, and they need to fund us to keep us going, because I'm funding 8 hours a day for my people, not for you to use them for 8 hours a week. So they were able to have the data to negotiate to get some funding back in their team from this other group that wanted them. So it was a perfect deal. So here's my little twist to that, is it's very easy in these systems nowadays to create that generic task. Okay. And I see everyone's board. Don't tell me, oh, that takes I see 50 million little window openings up on people's boards all the time. It's like, it's like that. Like, boy, I wonder when your system's going to crash. So you open up that little generic story because you're looking for it this week. This is what you're going to measure this week. You put it at the bottom of your screen. When you do something, you open it up or whatever, and you put a little subtask. You say, create subtask and put it so many hours on it. Boom, done. It takes that much time. It doesn't really take a lot of time. And then you minimize the window and it goes back to the bottom. But you leave that up all week. It's not a time card system. It's not all this. It's just Jira. It's just Azure. It's just Rally. It's really simple to do. Now you have data to back up your words. And because that's the most annoying thing to me. Maybe it's just me sometimes. When people say, I'm putting all this effort into something, well, where's your data to back it up? Create a story for the sprint that has so much percentage of your velocity that you think that I'm spending 10% of my time supporting customer service. My teammates, maybe you're coaching your teammates, because it's kind of hard to capture that with that. So you can create a little, hey, teamwork support. Put that as a story. And so I think I spend 10% of my time. And then track the little subtasks. If you want, you can put the hours in if you want, or you can just do a count of all the subtasks. Either way, you can do hours, you can do counts. Decide, right? It doesn't take much more time because it says add time, boom, done. It's very simple in these systems now. So at the end of the sprint, you can retrospect on it as an individual. How much time did I really spend? I'm thinking, it may be more than one sprint you need data, but the first sprint you said, well, you know what? It really is 10% of my time. I really am spending 10% of my time supporting questions and support for my teammates, other organizations, whatever you feel that you're doing on a regular, because the developers will know this better than the Scrum Masters, okay? And you just got to show them how to do this. That's what your job as Scrum Master. Help them perform in their job the way they would like. Give them some data to back up what they say. Because there's nothing worse than someone saying something and having no data because they're going to say, well, you don't have the data. I don't believe you. Well, believe this. Here's the data from Jira on all the time I spent supporting XYZ group or even my teammates, right? I'm answering questions 15 minutes, 15 minutes. If I add it all up, you're talking about a couple days and in a 2-week sprint, which is 10 days, and then you lose the beginning and the end. So you're really 8 days, if you miss a day, what's that, 10% of your time? So it's like a whole day of supporting. Or 20%, you miss 2 days or something like that. So that's how you collect the data. It's really simple. It's simple to share that with. If you're doing one-on-ones with your teammates and they say, hey, I'm spending a lot of time, suggest this. It says, I don't have a problem with you creating a little story in the sprint. Give it some value. If you do pointing, say, hey, it's 10%, or you capture something, and maybe it's a variety of stuff, right? So maybe it's a generic sprint, Greg Mester side support story for sprint XYZ. And as I do different things, I just capture that in there so I can get a better piece of data. How much time do I need to reserve for doing the support operation? Or how much time do we need to go bill another group because they keep calling me all the time to support them what they're doing because they're so messed up, right? So, you know what? Maybe you do bill them. Said, hey, I get some funding in there for my group for this week or whatever for the next 2 months while they're working on their project. Maybe that gives you some data to ask for that. Said, I got data here saying you're using my people for like 2 or 3 days a sprint to support your activity. I need some funding for that, right? So give me some of your money or fix your stuff, right? So that's how you can do that. That's just some way to collect some data because you need the data to support what you're saying verbally. Without the data to support what you're saying verbally, your verbal stuff doesn't mean squat. They're going to steam right over you. So I wanted to share that with you because it is Metric Monday that there's that. Oh, I also want to thank everyone for their help on the podcast. As I said, we're number 6 for the Agile Coaching podcast based on what FeedSpot says. So again, I want to thank you all for that activity. And I'm working on something. If you're interested, if you want to let me know. I'm going to do a workshop on personal OKRs to help you with your career. Haven't figured out exactly the price and what the format is, but it's coming. If you're interested in, message me. I'll get you signed up early for a super discount. It's gonna be cheap. It's gonna be inexpensive because I just want to see how this might work. I mean, if I get 1,000 people, I'm gonna say, okay, this is a hot topic. But I'm going to try that. So if you're interested, send me a message. We're going to do an OKR workshop. Probably be 2 days, 2 hours one day, 2 hours another day, just so you take some homework home and then come back and reflect on what you do. So that's coming up too. And again, thank you very much for the FeedSpot, the rankings as number 6 for Agile Coaching. Thank you for all your shares and your likes and everything. Keep doing it because it gets us up there. We're just a little channel out there, a little fish in a big pond. But thanks for all your support. Take care, everyone. Have a great day. Happy Monday.